What's going on, y'all? My name is Jay Faith, and this is the Right Mind Wednesdays podcast, where we sit down, make connections through conversations, and hopefully help others in whatever they are doing in their lives. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, staying current with what we're doing. This is a MOCG media production right here at 41st Studios, so I always want to shout them out. Appreciate them for allowing them to let us use this, allowing us to use this space. Getting my words all mixed up. Sorry, it's been a long day, but that's just how it is. I want to introduce again, as always, my co-host to my right.
This is my, oh shit, I'm messing up.
Yo, he's messing up his own line. How do you mess up introducing yourself? Well, this is
I don't know. Well, my name is L.Y.F.E. L.Y.F.E. It stands for Love Yours for Eternity. I'm also a hip-hop artist and singer.
Welcome, as always. Pleasure to have you. Member of MOCG, so, we got the team in here. But enough about us. We're here today to meet our guest for tonight. Episode 44 has officially begun. We just want to welcome AK the Don. What's going on, man?
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, same old stuff. Just kind of trucking through a different day, and but taking everything like that I learned from the day and just kind of applying that to the next one. So
for sure. I mean, I feel like we were just talking when we both got here, just how the day was going, and we're like, man, it's been a week.
Yeah.
Not just a day, but a week. Like, I feel like I got hit by a hurricane, and then I still have all this to do. Not that I'm complaining, but it's just a constant moving and constant doing stuff and all that.
I hear you because I work with kids.
Same.
So
okay, perfect.
Yeah, man. It could be like a really good day, or like it could just be they could just have a whole bunch of energy and stuff. So it's just trying to balance all that. Could be a
See, like, I work at a grocery store like full time. I hand it for like right down the street. I'm in management, so like I'm managing that, and then like when I'm out of work, like I'm managing my brand and managing my music and all that stuff. So it's two different things.
Exactly.
It's great though. I love the process.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to a point where I can do music full time. Of course, that's the goal for all of us.
Yeah. As
we always talk about.
Yeah, I work with kids too, and today was definitely one of those days where they had a lot of energy. Even some of my older kids. So I specifically work with teens, but I sometimes have to kind of commingle with some of the preteens.
Okay.
And today the teens were just bouncing off the wall, like yelling, screaming, just being goofy, like extra goofy. Not even, like they're normally goofy, and it's cool, it's fun, and I enjoy it. It's a good time. But they were just like extra, like I couldn't get them to focus on anything. Yeah. Anything whatsoever.
Okay.
My God.
Yeah. It was.
So the kids I work with, they're like, it's from 6 to 12.
Okay.
So they're kind of like I think it's more so like the 6 and 7 year olds. Those are the ones that they struggle with like a lot of stuff. Just like
those are the fun ones.
Yeah, they need like a lot of redirection and like But I do enjoy being around like all of them. It's like it's a different experience, and I never saw myself working with kids.
Same.
So I'm just like this is a totally new experience, but I feel like I've learned a lot just throughout being there. I've only been there like this is my second year there.
Okay.
But it's been fun to just kind of see like how I deal with everything, because I feel like there are times where I get frustrated. I get frustrated very easily.
Yeah.
So like just trying to learn how to like calm myself down and like, okay, it's not about me right now. It's about the kids. So just trying to balance that out. I feel like that's been good.
It's a learning process,
exactly.
For sure.
The coolest thing about like being around kids too is that like it gets to a point where like you're rubbing up on them. You know what I mean?
That's the best feeling.
I'll tell you.
They start talking like you. They start like you. You know what I mean?
Man.
Or they talk trash to you. Not to cut you off, but or they talk trash to you. Like I'm bald, and I'll leave it at that. I'm bald, and I'll leave it at that.
Man, so all right, so
like, you're 29, you old bastard,
bro. Yeah, that's literally how it is.
Man, you're 93.
Like last year, so like that was my first year, and like I was trying to get comfortable with the kids. So me and my boy, like anytime the kids would say something, and we'd be like, I don't know if you really tell them the truth. We'd be like, all right, that's cap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By the middle of the year, all you hear is the kids. That's cap. Oh my God, that's cap. I'm like, dang. So. It is funny just to see her like even when we're like, me and my boy were like, oh yeah, you're not that guy, you're not that, like, we say that, and then the kids will come up to me out of nowhere and be like, oh, Connie, you're not that guy. I'm like,
Oh,
what? But
what
yeah, and they call me old too. I'm like, man, I'm 25, you know, but
right.
yeah, they're like, yeah, you're super old. I tell them that I'm 10 though, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, and the trash talk too, like that's all, it's all in there, man, so. Yeah, it's fun though. I love it.
Yeah, you got to take with the good with the bad sometimes, because they were cracking on me a lot today too. Like every time like I go like clean shave, they like lose their mind.
Yeah,
like they're like, you look so different. Who are you? What are you doing? Oh, you're bald. And I'm like, dude, like relax.
Yeah.
Like you guys are going like extra savage today, and it's just like too much. I like can't handle it. So, but yeah, it's a pleasure to work with some of these kids and. Like I'm sure you know, and I say it all the time. I tell the kids too. I get more from them than they probably get from me. Yeah. So it's like it goes hand in hand, you know, because they're like, oh, like you're just here to, you know, to educate us and blah 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 and this that and the other thing. But it's like, no, guys, like you don't understand the impact you guys have on me at the same time. Yeah. Right. And I've worked with, you know, it's 6 years old to 12 years old, right? I'm just making sure it's not, you weren't mentioning that, the grades versus ages. And same thing, I've worked with those younger kids as well too, so I definitely know what you're saying. And those little kids, man. They're something else sometimes. But I love it. I love it in a good way, and it definitely teaches you how to have that patience. Because I've had my days where I start to walk through the door and some kid's like screaming his head off, and I'm like, all right, I need to take a step back. I need to take a super deep breath and approach this differently, because if I had just walked in there, I probably would have
doing the same thing.
I probably would have stomped somebody out.
Today ain't the day.
and I think like for me, like when I know I'm getting frustrated, I'm like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna take a break. Like I have to move myself to the other side of the building because I'm like, I know I'm tense and I need to just sit down, just take a deep breath, because I could feel the rage, you know, kind of building up, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to let it on them because, you know, they don't really know better, but it's like, you know, I just gotta. That's why I'm like, okay, you know, just take a breath, just go the other side real quick, 2 minutes, come back over, you're good.
Yeah. That's all it really is, because at the end of the day, they're impacted most of all, and that was one of the biggest things that I had to learn, was understanding that I had to control my emotions, that I couldn't just like let that, because that affects them so much more. If like you're having a crap day and then you try to bring it into work, especially with kids, like they feed off of that like you wouldn't believe, and it doesn't work out well, because then if you're pissed off or whatever and then you're trying to work with the kids, your temper just is so quick.
Exactly.
It ruins the experience for them. They're not getting the full value of if you just kind of just pulled it back a little bit, or take that moment, you know. It's an interesting job. Is it like a Boys and Girls Club? I'm just curious. It's
like an after school program, so it's kind of like that, but there's also we have groups that we run every day. So they change, the groups change every day, but they're the same every week, and the structure is still the same. So like when they get there, they have what we call freestyle, which is pretty much like recess. We give them snack, start the groups, snack again, freestyle. So it's like, then they go home. But
oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's always dope when see people like really putting in the effort to work with kids, because it's really a hard job.
It is, yeah. So.
It's a lot harder than people think. Definitely the pay doesn't match sometimes.
I know that's true, but you know, I'm like, that's also something that I think I was struggling a lot with last year. But one of my coworkers was like, she went to school, so she was like, you know, her professor told her, you know, when you get into that type of work, you're not always going to get paid what you're worth,
right?
Which is like, it's fair, but it's still like, okay, I'm giving more than I'm getting, and like, although I'm not getting all the pay that I would want, like I'm still getting something from the kids, or like from the experience.
Yeah, so. Facts. Yeah, because I've even had positions open up that were higher than mine, and to me, it wasn't even worth the money to do it, because I love what I do and where I'm at, like with the travel and the experiences that I've had. I'm like, the money is not worth
Mm-hmm.
it. So it's like, to me, the money, I mean, pay is great, you know what I'm saying? It's good to get paid for it, but at the end of the day, for me at least, it's just the experiences that come along with it. It's far, far beyond what people could pay me in a different job where I would sit behind a desk.
Right.
You know.
So I know the kids have definitely like imprinted on me. So I know even if I were to leave for like a better job, like I feel like something inside me, like I wouldn't feel right because I'm like, yeah, I'm getting paid more, but the impact isn't the same that I feel. So,
Yeah. Like I even had one of the kids tell me today, they're like, I can't even like think about the day like when you leave. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't do it for the accolades and the stuff like that, but it is like, honestly, it is great to hear kind of those kind of things. It just kind of points you in the right direction that you're still kind of doing your job.
Exactly, yeah.
You're like, okay, you know, you have your days like, man, like, I just feel like I'm not impacting these kids as much as I know I can. And then you hear stuff like that and you're like, okay, maybe I'm not
exactly.
doing as bad. So, you know, moving on. So you work with kids, but I know that you also dabble in something else as well. You have your own podcast. So what's that been like as far as like setting it up and, you know, give us a little bit of info or, you know, people that maybe not be familiar with you, you know, just kind of like what you kind of address on your podcast and maybe, you know, why that kind of came about.
So I started the podcast in 2019, but I would say I was like really inspired by, I don't know if you guys know Eric Thomas, the
dude. Beast
teacher.
mode.
Yeah, that's my guy. So,
Yeah.
And you know, my boy put me onto him like when we was in college, and I was just like, that dude changed my life. So I was just like, man. So you know, like there'd be times like I'd be on Instagram like posting videos of just like motivational speeches and stuff like that, like quick stuff. And then I had a few people hit me up. I was like, man, just start a podcast. I was like, and at the time I worked at Guitar Center, so
Sorry.
yeah, and I was like, you know, I was just kind of, but I was also like working on music as well. So like, I used to make beats and stuff like that, and that was probably in that time. I was like, yeah, this is real fun.
Nice.
So yeah, and then I was working at Guitar Center. I was like, okay, let me just buy all this stuff for the podcast and then start. So yeah, I think I bought all this stuff and then I was just kind of like trying to come up with ideas of like, okay, what can I talk about? And then yeah, I think right after I graduated, that's when I did the first episode, and then from there everything was just kind of falling into place. I was like, okay, I always had someone to talk with and stuff, so I was like, man, this is pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it was pretty dope, you know. But I think my process of like creating it was just because at the time I felt like there was a divide within, you know, Boston and stuff between like artists and creatives and stuff. I feel like there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, there's no support in Boston and all that, which I also believed to be true at the time. But then I was like, okay, instead of me feeding into that and complaining about it, let me do something.
Yeah.
So I went and started the podcast. I was like, you know, I'm gonna get as many local artists as I can just to kind of chop it up with them and, you know, find out what they do and see like, okay, now I know this person. I think you might fit well working with this person or collabing with this person on something. So yeah, I think that was my real motive to really be like, yeah, let me just keep on interviewing people and stuff like that and putting people on to different creatives or stuff like that. But I didn't just want to do music like I did people who do like clothing and like I can't even think right
just
now.
different areas, you know, different,
like,
and that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. So yeah, that was my main thing, and I was like, okay, you know, that's the goal. I feel like I did that. I think the pandemic kind of slowed me down a little bit because you know, once I hit, then you know, everywhere was like closed. But you know, I still had all my gear, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it happen with or without, you know, places.
Yeah.
So you know, I was going to people, setting up, and still doing the podcast. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm still going now. I have the first episode that I did, and I took all of 2022 off just because like I I was struggling, like balancing, like, do I really still want to do the podcast and stuff? But yeah, I did the first episode back in December, and I was like, yeah, that felt good. So
Nice.
I think at that point I was like, yeah, like I definitely want to keep doing the podcast for sure. And I think I wanted to add an element of like, you know, mental health to it, because I think that's also been a big thing for me, and working with the kids and stuff. Like they've all experienced trauma, so you know, that's another heavy thing too. So it's like, okay, how do we have that conversation surrounding mental health, but at the same time, like, you know, just who you are, like what has it been like for you? I guess.
Just getting like a different perspective.
Exactly, and I think that's my thing. Like just being able to see a situation from a different perspective, because that one added perspective can really shift your whole thinking. So
See, he's in his right mind right now.
Yeah,
because that's not saying like copying or whatever. I think there needs to be more platforms like that are talking about these kind of things, and that was part of one of the things of what we're trying to do here as well is really trying to have those conversations, bring in those different perspectives. You know, we focus on like, you know, fitness, mental health, music, you know, financial support too as well. You know, people, you know, especially now with the, you know, everything skyrocketing as far as prices and stuff. I feel like that's super important. But even just, you know, even touching along the lines of, you know, again, I'll use music as a reference, obviously, is, you know, how can I create a studio in my basement at a super low cost? And it's like, dude, like if I only knew like back in the day, like I could take $500 and create an entire studio and just rip it from there, I would have saved myself so much time, you know, and trying to figure it all out. But a lot of people are like, oh, I need like all this crazy equipment and stuff, and that stuff does help. I don't want to say that it doesn't, but again, if you're trying to be cost effective, there's ways to do it. You know. So, but having that perspective is all the while, you know, that we're looking for.
Yeah. So I think when I was working on music, and my boy, because as soon as I was listening to one of E.T.'s speeches, and I was just kept saying over and over. It was like, man, just, you know, you're supposed to be in school because you want to be in school, not because, you know, your parents want you to be in school. That's something that I hold dear. But yeah, I think that was something else that I was just like, man, you know, like, yeah, I kind of want to work on music. Like, I'm not worried about what anybody else thinks. Like, I want to do music.
Yeah.
So I told my boy, he went to as soon as I told him, I think like a couple days later, he went to Guitar Center, bought like the whole, like the studio bundle, like with the headphones, the mic and stuff. So that's what we were working on. Like, I remember we was working on, like I had Logic, he had GarageBand, and I had like a typing keyboard, like, and that's how I'm like putting in all the beats and stuff. And I was like, man, we got to it. Like, we put a whole project together. It wasn't the best. It really wasn't. But like, it's the fact that, you know, we came together and we all worked on it in like 3 to 4 weeks and like put it all together. So it was just dope. Like, just to see that, like, man, we really had one microphone. We didn't have no studio phone, nothing like that. Like, just recording in our dorm room, and we made it work. So it was just like, that's all you need, man.
That's the biggest thing.
You gotta go out and do it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. People think that they have to go to these huge, crazy, extraordinary lengths, but at the end of the day, it's using what works for you and what you have, and like, you'd be surprised once you like master those things. How well you can actually make it. And then people are like, oh, you probably went to like some crazy fancy studio. And it's like, nah, dude, I just made it in my dorm room. On GarageBand. You know, like my first project was on GarageBand, and I'm like, wasn't the greatest, but you know, you start somewhere and you're still able to create, and it can honestly go higher than your expectations too. You know, you think it's like here, and then somebody else hears it and they're like, oh, this is like really dope. And you're like, oh, okay, sure, cool. You know, it's one man's trash is another man's treasure, you know, kind of thing.
You don't necessarily need like a mic to start off, you know what I mean? Like now, like especially nowadays, like all you need is just like you know, your phone and
a tripod,
and TikTok,
you
know,
and a tripod,
and a tripod. That's all you need at first. But you know,
people just overthink it sometimes.
Oh yeah,
And especially now with this, just the day and age that we're in, like we're fortunate. We're not like in the 90s and the 80s and stuff where none of this was around. Social media wasn't active and you couldn't really connect to people like that and you couldn't get your stuff out as easily. Whereas like now, like you said, like grab a tripod and a phone and you can connect with millions of people, and certain people look at quality and stuff, but overall, like to a certain extent, like quality, it doesn't have to be crazy. Like you've seen stuff on TikTok that go viral. It's like, dude just like laid his phone against a can and shot a video, and now it's got like 4.5 million views and likes and everything. You're like,
you saw all these crazy ass angles. That was my sister the whole entire time.
Yeah, she was
that was my 5-year-old sister.
Yeah, she was just running around and it just came out super dope. And you're like, oh, what the hell? Like, and I'm over here like trying to get like a 4K camera, setting it up, hiring, spending thousands of dollars to put something together, and then you're just like some Joe Schmo in his garage just takes a phone and is like, click, and you're like,
damn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know. Starting the podcast, like I was overthinking because, granted, like at the time I wasn't like really struggling like that, but I'm still in college, so I'm struggling. But I was like, okay, if I'm making enough to afford all my equipment, I think it's best if I buy it. But at the same time, I was just like, I was overthinking because I was like, no, like I need, like this has to be perfect. I have to have these headphones. Like this microphone works best for, just like really in my head. But it's like, man, like. You have what you need, so you can start and add as you grow.
Yeah.
So that's something that I was stuck with. It's like, man, you just got to start, man.
Right. Exactly.
That's the biggest thing. A lot of people have everything that they need, especially when it's something that they're passionate about. Most likely, they have everything that they need, at least to start.
Yeah.
And then you just build on it as we grow. Like us, like we weren't here before. Like I was in my house, in my office, no backdrop, just plain old wall, and just shooting, videos over Wi-Fi because it was right during COVID and stuff, and we were doing, live streams. So now, we have a space. It's just building on everything that you have, and going from there, and that just shows the growth and the improvement of anything.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's just carrying everything around, like. I remember there was one time, the first episode I did in Bridgewater.
Okay.
And I'm coming all the way from Dorchester, so I got the big old bag of like all my equipment. It's heavy as hell. I'm on the commuter rail with that. I got to carry it, walk to Bridgewater, like set up in the library, and like they close at a certain time, and I'm like, man, at the end of the day, I still gotta all the way home. But I was like, man, it was like
dedication to lug all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Because I'm like, man, this is something that I said I wanted to do. Like I gotta take what comes with it, and I think I do enjoy it. It is a lot. I know for me, like editing after I record, I'm like, man, I'm not trying to do it, and like I said, like I get frustrated easily. So like, if it's one small thing, I'm just like, man, I'll do it. But
I'm done, and then tomorrow comes. All right, I got another podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was just like, man, you just gotta do it. And like, I do get frustrated, but it's like, if I don't do it, nobody else is going to. Right. So I got to do it, man. Right. But that's what comes with it, and that's how it goes.
Yeah. Oh, it's hella frustrating at first. Like, starting anything is hella frustrating for like the first year, I would say. But I mean, you work past those kinks, you work past like, all that, and it just becomes second nature,
Honestly, because like now I'm like, I'm setting up all the like the cameras and stuff. I'm testing the audio. I'm like, okay, like this all sounds good. Like I think I know what I'm doing by now. Like let's just get it going. Yeah. So it's it really is second nature, and I'm like, I feel comfortable like uploading and like editing and all that stuff. I'm like, I know what it's supposed to look like or how I want it to look.
Right.
So yeah.
It's just making it happen. Sometimes you just have to grind through it sometimes. Because like you said, like sometimes you're just like, oh, this is not working out the way that I want it to. Yeah. But I know I have to do it because there's so much value in it. And I know that, hopefully at least one person takes something away from this.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Just one person, like, and I feel like that's something else too. You know, people will say, I don't know if anybody's gonna. Man, I checked there was one time, like, I was checking, like, where all the downloads came from. I had a good amount, you know, in the USA. I got stuff like there's downloads coming from like different countries and stuff. I'm like,
Nice.
even if they don't listen to it all the way, it's like
Right.
that's still. I don't know. I just feel like we do overthink a lot, but it's like, man, someone in a whole different country could have really been like downloading your podcast, listen to it. It's
Right.
like, whoa, that's the coolest thing ever. I'm waiting for the next one. But
Right.
you don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
it's in your head the whole time. So it's like,
Yeah. They just
Yeah.
may not know how to connect with you or
yeah.
whatever.
And like if they don't, you know, that's cool. But I still think it's just like, man, like someone really out there. There's someone out there that's like, I don't even know this person, but I like what they have going on.
I want to invest in this.
You know, and I saw this post a while ago. It was like, you know, your biggest supporter might be someone you don't even know,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like a stranger.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I know for me, like I do have the people that support me with the podcast, but I know there's one girl. Shout out Samara Poe. She's she lives in ATL.
Okay.
Never met her before,
Word.
but we connected a few years ago, and we just support each other, like support the hell out of each other, man.
Yeah.
And it's like she supports me more than other people I know. So it's like, you know, it's just dope for that. But
That's the biggest thing. I feel like, not to knock anybody's close supporters, it's really those people that you don't know that just like die hard, just do everything that they can
yeah,
to support what you're doing.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's all it takes is that one person to just keep that drive going. And again, like we said, like as long as one person is at least impacted,
Mhm.
and it'll trickle effects. You know, eventually somebody will see that. Somebody else will see that.
exactly.
Not that they haven't already, but you know, someone else will see that. They'll come across it, like find one post that they share, and then they're like, "Oh man, like that's really cool."
Right.
Like all it takes is that one person for it to just kind of trickle down and connect with more people.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. I mean, so like this is a perfect example as well. Like, we like one of our boys like last year went on tour with Chris Webby.
Mm-hmm.
And like at the same time they were tapped in with him, they were tapped in with like the entire like collective that we're in. Mine's One Collective Genius. And yeah, you're what's up? No, I'm kidding. But I haven't even come in contact with this person, but like this person found me on Instagram and you know, was a fan, you know, just off of his tour.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back and surprised me with fan art that somebody made.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope.
And yeah, that is incredible. So like, you know, going back to like, you really never know. Like there's somebody that's gonna come out the woodworks and be like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
I made this for you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So.
And haven't even met you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they'll take a picture of it, send it to you, whatever, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So,
Yeah, she asked me to sign it and then like take a picture and then like send it to her.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's just, man. Like we keep saying, you never know.
Right.
So
Yeah, you just got to keep pushing forward.
for sure.
That's all it is. So
Yeah.
you're a moving podcast, or
Well,
has that changed?
Now I feel like I'm probably gonna stay at my house. It depends on it depends on who I'm talking with. Like if they have a space,
Mhm.
then I don't know. I don't even
Yes
know
and
because
no.
I'm like yeah, because like I know like I set up my space to have it, you know, so that I didn't have to move anymore.
Right.
But realistically, I don't think I want everyone in my space. So it's
Right,
it's
that
all
makes
the right people though. Like, you know, I think the people that I would sit down with, like yeah, like those are people I would definitely sit down with, no problem. But yeah, I'm trying to I want to get away from moving unless if they have all the equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
By all means, like I think I would just need like my laptop or something.
Right.
But aside from that, like, yeah, I think I'm good at my crib, you know.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. I mean, make it easier for you to. 'Cause
Exactly.
It can be tearing and just like bearing on you a lot.
mhm.
You know, having to do all that, like you said, like riding
Yeah.
a train, and then you're like, damn, I should do this all over again.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. So
you don't want to overwork yourself.
Yeah.
Not that the grind doesn't come with it, but there's got to be levels to it. You got to be able to take care of yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you've had struggles. We were talking a little bit off air, just like struggles with kind of working in that space initially or another space, to finally being like, all right, I got to do what I got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't so I would say, okay, so the very first place, I'm going to shout out all these places, like the PRX Podcast Garage in Austin. I was there, they were on it, with the recording. I didn't have any equipment. Well, I had my equipment, but, I didn't have to bring anything. They just recorded everything.
Nice.
And then sent it to me. I was like, oh, yeah, this is dope. And then that's when the pandemic hit. So I was like, okay.
Of course.
They shut down. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to take my stuff and go to people, which worked for some time. But then I was like, okay, I don't really like traveling to a whole bunch of different places. I still think, one place would be better. And then I think the next place I went to was Scope Apparel in JP, and they were cool. But I think it was a lot they were still in the process of creating their set space.
Oh, okay.
So I was trusting them because my boy works there.
Yeah.
But I was they were still building. I still support them, but
right, of course.
I was just I like it, but I feel like I need something that's a little more stable and structured.
Right.
So yeah, I believe those are the only places. I might be missing something. I don't know, but now I'm at my house. I have that. It's a real good space. I set up on my studio phone, my microphones.
Nice.
Got a whole table and stuff. So I was like, yeah, no, this feels good. And I think being in all those different places and having to bounce around, that was making me lose a little bit of motivation to do it because I'm it was draining.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm okay, I have a set spot. I feel more comfortable. I know what I'm doing. I used to set up everything in a certain way. Now I'm okay, this is how I got to set it up here. And this is how I got to do it every time. Just because, now it's my space. And I don't really have to rely on other people. I think that's something that's hard for me a little bit is, putting my faith into, or I want to say trusting other people all the time. Just because I know how I operate. And if stuff doesn't go the way I expected to in my head, then it's okay, yeah, no, this can't work. And
Facts.
Even with my podcast, I know me, I'm my podcast, that's my baby. So I can't let anybody just come in and, try to tell me what to do. I'm I do take advice and stuff like that, but I feel that's my baby, man. I take care of it
Gotta make it your own.
So
That's your brand.
I protect it, and I'm it has to have the look that I give it, not other people try to label it as, I guess. But.
Yeah, because it's yours. You don't want people coming in. We had a conversation with Theory, who his episode just dropped today. He had people trying to come in and trying to literally change something that he created. They were we want full control and we want this and we want that. He was like, dude, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Do you understand that I built this thing from the ground up? Do not feel that you were gonna be able to just come in here and just get that kind of control. It's not happening. I don't think you understand the value of what I put into this thing.
Right.
To come in here and just completely uproot it. That's, you're insane.
Right.
It's crazy. People, I don't know, people just have this weird mindset. It's they just feed off of the growth of other people. It's dude, no, I'm in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
I'll take your, like you said, I'll take your advice. I hear you, but at the end of the day, I got to do what works for me because I'm trying to make, even something different. Some people are oh, you need to do this because everybody else is doing it. It's but I don't want to do what everybody else is doing.
Right.
So let me be me. Let me do what I need to do because this is different than what you may be envisioning.
Yeah.
So let me just stay over here.
Yeah, and I think that's why I feel although my podcast may not be as popular as other podcasts, and it's authentic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all me.
Right.
I don't need to try to have certain conversations. Try to fit in with what everyone's doing now. I'm like, well, that's not me. I could probably have those conversations off air or like,
Right.
but I don't know. I don't think like I'd really want to go to like another platform and like have those kind of, for me, like low level conversations. Like I feel like
there's a lot of things that people are putting out there that you're just like, we don't need to have this conversation.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be aired out like that. You can have
Right.
side conversations.
And I do think that because it's becoming so popular, and then it's like, okay, let's keep having this same conversation over and over. But it's like, or we could, talk about stuff that has real meaning. But I mean, that's if that's what works for them, that's what works for them. But I always keep my stuff like, nah, it's me. I've been doing interviews and stuff. Like I try to have certain conversations with people. Like, but yeah, like the interviews, I feel like it's been working for me, and people gravitate towards it. People support it. So it's like, yeah, that works for me. Then I'm keep doing it.
In the end, people are gonna want to keep going back because it's so free flowing because it's something different every single time. You're bringing something different to the table every single time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I like having different conversations with people. I think that's also why. Well, I don't know. I would like a co-host, but I feel like I'm still just so protective of it. I'm like, I don't know, but like I think it would be healthy to do that, because then it's like it's not just my perspective and my own thoughts, my own opinions, which is something that I feel like is the reason why I don't do just me talking on a podcast. Like it has to be like there has to be someone else there, just because it's like give you that other perspective.
Yeah.
But no, it's dope. I always keep, like I said, just keep it authentic, man, for sure.
Yeah, when you keep it authentic, like I feel like you lose, and I say this in a good way. You lose that comparison factor, because if you're doing what everybody else is doing, then you're like, okay, everybody else is doing this. They're doing really good. Why am I doing so bad? And then you're just like, oh crap, I'm doing something wrong. Oh, failure. Oh no, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But if it's like, if you're doing your own thing and you're in your own lane, you're just like, okay, we're just cruising. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. You don't want to get so conditioned to like having to like do it like this way. Oh, I gotta get this like this because, you're doing it better. You're not even noticing it because like you're so focused on like getting this thing right that everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
And it's like you have your own space, like you have your own, like it's just your space. Like you can just do whatever. You don't have to worry about people, relying on people, waiting on people. I, like even when I first started, like before I actually officially like came out to doing music solo, like I was working with people. And kind of the same thing. It was you were relying on people, waiting for people to show up, and then people just don't show up. They don't put in the commitment, the time, and you're just like, dude, like what the heck? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
And then finally, I was just like, one of my friends was like, dude, I think you should just go solo. And I was like, okay. And here we are now. Fast forward, and I'm like, I'm kind of glad that I, and then obviously like you realize what having a team isn't supposed to look like, and then now like I've been able to build and see what a team is supposed to look like. Being a part of MOCG and stuff like that, and also partnering with 41st Studios to have this podcast. It showed me what doesn't work and what can work, and just going from there and just seeing what's comfortable.
Yeah.
But also within my own realm, like again with both entities, MOCG and 41st Studios, I'm blessed to have people that allow me to continue to have my own creative space and not be like, well, you're a part of us now, you have to do what we want you to do. Because then that's where it just falls apart. And I always say that with like a record deal. If you ever offer me a record deal, I still want to be able to do what I want to do. Don't tell me to change because it's something that you want me to do. You signed me because you liked what I already do.
Right.
So don't come in here and try to tell me that, oh, now you need me to wear a cowboy hat and cowboy boots because you want to do cowboy hip hop. Granted, it's super dope. Don't get me wrong. It's super dope, but that's not me.
Exactly.
So why are you going to switch it up? It's just crazy.
And like, people step away from these labels, and here they are making like a shit ton more money than what the label usually makes.
Yeah, man.
So it makes all the difference, you know, like us artists, us creatives, like we're the ones winning, like not, you know, anyone else that, you know, is just like, I don't know, like think they are above you, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Like,
Just because they have more money and they can, you know, do these things, you know, business wise, but
nah, when you can like create freely, man, I think that's, you know, that's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
I know for me, like, yeah, I do my, like we've been saying, like, I do my podcast my own way. Like, even when I used to make beats and stuff, like, I know they were a lot different than what was hot at the time, but I'm like, man, I enjoy making these beats. Like, I have fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think just being able to reach that level of like, yeah, I do it my way and it's fun.
Yeah, because there's always going to be somebody that is going to like it.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, like we hear like weird, you know, crazy like hip hop and music and you know, to us we're like, man, that's just weird. Like who is going to, and then all of a sudden like you see somebody like sharing it and like dancing to it and you're like, okay, there is somebody that likes this kind of, there's always those people that are just going to like the weird, the different, the unordinary things, and it's like that's okay, you know. So we have to have that mindset within ourselves to trust ourselves that, you know, what we're doing may not be like what everybody else is doing. It's a little bit different, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to find those people. Just like ATL, you know, all the way across, I wouldn't say across the country, but kind of across the country, you know. It's like you never know. So like, don't quit putting in the work just because you feel like yours is different than what everybody else is doing.
Big facts.
Right, yeah. A lot of the time I find myself like, holy shit, like I'm doing all this shit for, and I'm not accelerating, I'm not going up, like, but like sooner or later, like, you know, you get like an opportunity, you know, something else comes up, and then after that something else comes up, and then, you know, you get like two things that come up at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing something right.
Yeah, man.
You're doing more than, you know, what you asked for yourself even.
And I definitely think, you know, when it comes down to standing, I don't want to say standing out, but pretty much like when you're being yourself, it's like that's when stuff starts to happen for you, like you just said, you know. And then, because I've seen people, you know, just try to fit in with the times, like whatever is popping right now, like oh yeah, like let's do that. But it's like, okay, yeah, you might be hot for a second, but it's like, do you want to be hot or do you want to be, you know, well known and respected for a long time? So,
Right.
And I think that's
people don't understand.
That's what it is.
And like, yeah, there's these like, you know, stupid ass like TikTok trends that like, you know, it's mad easy to do, but it like 90% of it, I'm just like, why? Like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's always gonna be like, you know, another trend or something like that. So it's like, yeah, it could be fun, but
why not create your own trend? You know,
How do you outlast the trend?
How do you outlast it? I think
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. You know, how do you outlast that? Because again, it's so short term that you either have to be able to follow it up and stay consistent, or like, how do you outlast that?
Yeah, because I was gonna say is like, yeah, you're gonna always have to, you know, give people more, or like based on the trend. And it's like
gotta have shit like backed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like I think if you're really in your own lane and like you're not worried about like any of the trendy stuff, like that's where it hits, and like you really solidify your base as opposed to, you know, just kind of being, oh yeah, you popped out and you were hot right now, but like 5-10 years, you know, it's not sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
Or less even. You know?
Yeah.
In the blink of an eye, boom, it's gone. You know what I mean? And when you know, I don't know if you want to call it like the longer route, but I mean, like you have all that shit stacked up, and then like once you have that video that does blow, like people are gonna like look back at it and be like, oh shit, that's dope. Oh, this is dope too. Oh my god, like, you know what I mean? Like, where was this person? Like,
right. Yeah. It was, they were, you know, they had their head down and they were just working, you know, just grinding on themselves and, you know, trying to take the road less traveled. So yeah, it's underrated, but it's a better road.
Yeah, I mean, when you're consistent, people don't have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with trends, you know, trend comes out and then it fades off, and then everybody's like, okay, what's the new trend? But then you have somebody who's consistent and constantly putting out work and stuff. It's like, it's already there. I don't know what else you're waiting for. It's right here.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to wait for the next trend. There's content right here.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep flowing with it.
For sure.
Although what is cool though, like with what you're doing, in anybody's niche, like there are trends that pop up that have something to do with you,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's like okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like it's those those verse challenges for rappers or anything else.
Yeah.
Those are really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think anything that
They're
is
fun to hop on.
productive
Right.
or
Yeah.
builds,
Chance to you.
anything that's productive and like builds that network, like even what you're doing, like you said, when you first said it, to me, it just sounded like in part, like a networking podcast too, because you have those conversations, and then you're like, oh, okay, so you can work with so and so, and you can work with so and so, so it just builds on what's already established, and it just connects people, and then connects people more and more and more and more, and that's what's needed. Because again, like you said at the top, there was such a disconnect with artists and hip hop and community and everything else that we had to find a way to do that, and finally there are people that have the right sense, the right mind to realize what that is and how to do it. There are still some people that are still kind of, they think they're trying to help, but they're setting things back, and then there are people that are really putting in the effort to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that that continues to grow, because we've definitely seen that growth a little bit, especially through the pandemic. I think a lot of people, for the most part, kind of realized what we were losing, what we were missing because of the pandemic, and it's like, nah, we got to do this together. And then again, there's some of those people that are trying to capitalize off that in the wrong way. But there's definitely a higher trend of people that are like, we have to do this right. Because one, I don't want to be stuck in a house. Again, that was terrible. And the more that we can do it together, everybody's kind of doing it together and stuck together through it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just, I think networking has kind of been my thing. Like, I feel like I've just been comfortable, like, meeting people and just kind of being in a new space. Like, even, like, before the pandemic, like, I was going to so many events in Boston, like, just trying to meet people. So I'm like, well, one, I have a podcast, but two, it's also like, oh, like, let me explore someone new, because I'm like, you might do something, like, you might have a great voice, or like, I might really gravitate towards your music. So, I think that was just kind of a great experience to do. And, now stuff is opening back up, or like, well, it's already open, but like, there's more and more events popping up. I feel like for me, I've been struggling with that, because I'm like, at this point, I don't really want to go out anymore.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think it is good to network, but I think it's time and a place. Like, there's certain places that I'm like, okay, I definitely want to go to that.
Yeah,
for sure. You're more strategic with your coming and your going. It isn't just as much trying to hit every single place. It's finding the ones that like, I'm gonna get some good value out of this. Because again, time is money, if you will. And obviously being creatives, we got to use our, we're constantly creating, putting stuff together, editing, shooting a podcast, making music, going to work, trying to just breathe for a second, So it's like, if we're going to invest in something, let's at least make it worth our time and our effort to do so. But I think networking is definitely a great thing, as long as you're doing it right.
Exactly.
And just taking care of like I said, taking care of yourself. Don't push yourself so far that it just becomes a burden.
Exactly.
Versus, action. And then again, you'll lose the value of it. If it just becomes a burden, then you're just like, man, I'm just too tired to even try to talk to somebody here. But I'm here. I'm trying to network, but like, are you really getting anything out of it at the end of the day?
Yeah.
It's a process for sure. Like, we're I think probably 2 years into our podcast, here with Right Mind, added him about a month ago. So, and again, just to have that other perspective, you know, type of thing, and just having somebody else kind of have that conversation with. Yeah, we haven't done too many kind of solo ones either, as far as that goes. I mean, I've done maybe 2, you know, within this whole time, you know, and that was just for extenuating circumstances and stuff, and just to get that opportunity to give my perspective.
Right.
You know, but again, I try to make it more about the guest. Because again, I only know so much, I've only been through so much, and someone else's perspective could be the one that helps somebody. You know, and sometimes people just tired of hearing from me. So I'd rather just have, you know, they get enough of me on the mic, you know, rapping and performing and stuff. So it's like, let's give somebody else some mic time.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's also something too, like, you know, aside from the networking, like, you know, just kind of being supportive. Like, I feel like during that time too, like pre-pandemic, was just like, I was so like, I gotta support as many people as I can, which also got draining after a while. But yeah, I think, you know, that's still my thing. Like, now again, it's like being more strategic about, you know, who I'm supporting. Like, I really follow like people who I genuinely feel like reciprocate good energy with me, and, you know, people who genuinely support my podcast and stuff.
Right.
So I feel, yeah, okay, I follow you. If you put something out, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna support it, because it's like, like, if you seem genuine in what you're doing. Like, it's not just, you know, you're not just doing it like just to blow up or just to be famous and stuff.
Right.
You know, you're doing it for a real reason, and that's definitely the biggest thing, because I think when I started the podcast and supporting everybody at the same time, I was like, okay, yeah, I want the recognition that I'm here and stuff like that. And I know for me, like, to have my podcast, I don't know if you guys have heard the BMAs, the Boston Music Awards.
Yep.
Okay, so I was like so big on that. I was like, man, like, I want my podcast to be there, like, because I went to one and I was just, you know, so big on that. But then I was just like, man, are you doing it for the BMAs, or are you doing it for you? Because I started it for me, you know. So if it does get on there, then it's like, okay, that's an added bonus, but that shouldn't be the driving force behind the podcast. But that was the thing for me.
Yeah, because I felt the same way too, both like musically and for the podcast. Because, you know, you see people, you know, the nominees go up and stuff, and sometimes you catch like people you know or whatever, and you're just like, oh man, like why can't I be on there? Well, like, what do I have to do? And then again, you just kind of like sit back and reflect. It's like, dude, like, it's great and all, but at the same time, and not to sound disrespectful, but like, who cares?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, is it worth your time and energy to sit and worry about whether you got nominated for something, or you just keep putting in the work, and then, you know, finally someone will recognize what you're doing? You know, so it's great and all, but don't stress over it, because it's not worth it at the end of the day, honestly.
Right, and like, you know, the same exact thing as if we were at like the level, you know, where we want to get like Grammy nominations and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's even worse. Like, when
it'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, why did I get nominated for a Grammy for
like,
super dope album?
And like, but like at an A-list scale.
Well, you look at like hip hop now. You know, people that are like just super dope artists and stuff, top tier, and then they're not getting nominated, or they get nominated but they don't win, and then like Taylor Swift wins, and they're like, what the hell? Like, you know, it's the same thing, and you get butthurt and everything else. It's like, all right, well, at least, you know, got nominated, and try to look at it from that perspective.
And take a step of what you've done. Take a step back of what you've accomplished. You know what I mean?
And again, the real people will recognize it either way. Like, whether you win or not, people, like, there's gonna be those people that can be like, dude, you should have won.
Right.
Like, we're still gonna support. We're still gonna be here. We're still gonna rock with you. Let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. To feed off what you said about, you know, just taking that step back, because I feel like that's also something that I was struggling with, like, when I was, you know, having that inner debate of like, damn, I still wanna do the podcast and stuff. I was like, man, I really did a lot. Like, I've done a lot of episodes, or a good amount of episodes since I started. Like, I started in 2019, it's 2023 right now, and like although I took last year off, like I'm back this year. Like I already have the first episode. I'm recording another one on Saturday, so
Nice.
you know I'm starting to kind of get back into the swing of it. So I think, you know, just really reflecting on like what you've done, because
That's the important.
sometimes we take it for granted. Like
Oh yeah, definitely.
like I said, like just looking back and being like, wow, like people really seeing the amount of downloads. Like granted, I think, you know, not all of them are like where I would like them to be, but it's like,
Yeah.
man, people still downloaded the podcast, like
Yeah,
listen
right.
to it and stuff. So it's, I think that means a lot more. It's just like, man, I think that's really what it's about, man. Like just
Yeah.
you if you put out content on a consistent basis, or like at all, like if you put out content and people support it, it's like you did that.
Yeah.
You know, you should be proud of that. You gotta hang your hat on that. So yeah, I think just not taking that stuff for granted, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we just keep pushing, and then, you know, you hit that moment, you're like, man, am I doing enough? And then like we get like another new follower that's like, hey, thanks for sharing that episode, thanks for doing that, and you're like, yeah, okay, all right,
Exactly.
let's keep going, that's one more. Okay, I'll take one more.
Exactly.
You can think of it on a perspective as like, there's really no way you can get like 0 downloads on anything. There's really no way, you know, we're gonna get like, you know, 0 followers for an X amount of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So yeah, don't take anything for granted, y'all.
Right.
Just be like you always gotta be grateful though. Like
Always
what
have
you
to
get
be.
and like
Yeah,
everyone that supports you. Like I'm super thankful now. Like just even, you know, I try to tell my friends like thank you more often. Like
Yeah.
I'll just say it out of nowhere, like thank you. They'll be like, what are you talking about, bro? I'm like just
bro, we just chilling, man.
Yeah.
Don't be getting all emotional with us right now. You're like, nah, for real.
I'm definitely like even like that friend too. Like, you know, when I drink, I'm like, oh, you know, I love you guys. Like,
Yeah.
But it is from like a genuine place.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I don't have to be drunk to say that, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I do try to tell my friends and family too. Like, nah, like I really love you guys. Like, you guys are here. You support me. You know, all the you know the stuff I be doing. You know, you guys are still here for me. So
Right.
it's like
It means a
just
lot.
like, yeah, for sure. And you know, just thank you guys. Like,
Yeah.
just for, you know, just for being around my space and allowing me to be in your space.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think they realize it either sometimes. Like, I don't think they really understand the full value of, like, the like us saying thank you
yeah.
really means, like, you guys don't understand. Like,
Mhm.
it weighs much more heavier than you think,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's important.
And we direct this toward you guys too, y'all. Thank
Yeah,
you.
for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Like,
I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be. He wouldn't be where he is now. We wouldn't be around this table if it wasn't for you guys supporting, you know, throughout the years. And
Just keeping us motivated. You
Yeah.
know, like I said, we were sitting in my house to hear. You were, bouncing between different studios trying to figure it out. Now you got your own space and, able to do your own thing, and that's growth. Being
Yeah.
able to have your own space and just function how you want, not worrying about anybody. It's just like, I'm gonna do what I need to do.
exactly. So I know I'm always get it done. Like once that camera goes on, is we're gonna do this for. I do it for about an hour or two. I'm like, we're gonna do this for about an hour, and then, all right, we done. All right, clean up shop. Let's get to editing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
After editing, put it out, like schedule a date, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just I always gotta get it done.
Wash, rinse, and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yep.
But when you love it, it's that much easier.
Exactly, man. And it is like, those little comments of like, oh, that was a good episode. Or like, even like, just seeing my friends support it is like, man, and granted, I think that was the thing for me too, because I'm like, feeling like my friends had to support it because of my friends, but it's like, no, they're not obligated to do it. If they do it, it's cool.
Right.
But they're not obligated because they're your friends.
Yeah.
So I know even like with my posts and stuff, like the reels that I put up on Instagram, I don't always get the same support from my friend. Like it really is like people I don't know, or like someone will comment and be like, oh, like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. But it's not something that I would have expected to do, to repost it. But I'm like, okay, I got out of that mindset too, where it's like, no, you don't, like your friends don't have to. If they do, again, that's cool.
Yeah.
But they're not obligated to. and I made my peace with it. So now it's like, yeah, when I see my friends support, I'm like, oh damn, like I wasn't expecting you to, but you did. So I appreciate them for that.
Yeah, because at least they took the time to do it. They could have just kept scrolling, like, oh, that it's AK again. All right, whatever.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
AK's got another podcast out, but they took the time to at least. I mean, even if it was just a simple like quick couple emojis or whatever, or just like a quick, oh, that's dope. At least they took that time and wanted to make sure that this kind of popped a little bit. And getting if you want to go algorithm wise, putting in the work to get the algorithm going and make it stand out and get people to notice and whatever, like at least that effort is in there to do that, because some people don't even do that
exactly.
So especially with comments, it's much easy to just hit like versus like and then going in and actually like putting something down. So I find value in especially the comments where people just take that quick, even like couple 5 seconds, to do that. I find a lot of value in that, and just you're like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. I try to do that as much as humanly possible. I mean, now I do it so much now that like I can just like something and be like, like they know I'm digging what they put out. Yeah, I mean, I usually like, comment, save and repost.
Yeah, man. And that, I think like saving and like the reposting too. I think that's the bigger thing, I guess. But yeah, like anytime, like I know my boy, he's into realist. Well, he's a loan officer, mortgage loan officer. So like, yeah, anytime he puts something out, I'm like, man, I'm posting that, because like there's probably not a whole lot of people that know about loans or like buying a house and stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably gonna help somebody. So even if it's like, I don't know, it could be something, well, I guess simple for him, but to me, I'm still like, he'll explain it. Like, we were having a conversation the other day, and he's like talking, and I'm just like, I didn't really understand what he was saying, and he was like, man, I'm probably talking your ear off. I was like, a little bit, but it's like, that's what he's passionate about. So it's like, I'm gonna listen to you because one, you're my brother, like you're my boy. So yeah, I'm gonna listen to you. Although I don't understand, you're not really talking my ear off. Like you're explaining it, I just don't understand it because I'm not in that field.
Like we're sitting there trying to learn,
exactly,
trying to absorb as much as possible because you know nothing about it. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Let them explain like what it's about and all that stuff. Like
that's why I'm like, bro, like I know you know a lot. Like I'll always come to you. Like if I have any questions. And he can go off on a spiel, be like we started. I think we started talking probably at it was 7 o'clock one day. We started talking at 7. We were on the phone for hours after that, but we kept talking about that for probably an hour and a half. Like that's just him explaining everything and giving me knowledge. So I was just like, I don't understand it, but I'm trying to learn. Like I'm learning from you. So
It's like when I'm around people that aren't really in the music industry, if you will, and then they're like, hey, what do you do? And then I go off for an hour and a half. I'm just oh, I do music and this and experience.
Oh,
and
how do you write a song? How do you record it? Well, you do. Oh, what is that? Is that a mic? What kind of mic do you use?
It's very so many little things that go into it that people don't even realize. So
it's fun.
It's funny at the same time. That's why I joke so much about it because it's just but
I know to us it's almost those weird
you press record
type of thing. Yeah, it's you just press record. But tell me more.
Right, but to them it's not as simple. You know what I mean? Because they don't know anything about it. Like I said, it's it's second nature for us. It's easy. That's why it seems so easy. We make it seem easy, but I mean it is a hard thing to to learn and master and all that.
Yeah, even doing podcasting. Like I said, it's recording, it's setting up, it's making sure the audio is good, making sure the video is good. The connections are good if you're doing streaming with somebody. To the takedown to editing. It's a process, man. It doesn't just get uploaded by itself.
Yeah, and I'm I commend anybody who's working on the podcast. I don't know you know, if you're the only one who does like all the editing, or like if you guys, I don't know how it goes, but like
I know nothing about editing. I know nothing about how the mics work. I just talking to it.
You know, I commend you because it's like I know what you're going through. Like just trying to like when you're doing it by yourself, it's like it is a lot. But you know, like we've said, that is part of the grind. But yeah, I know. I'm like,
you always want to make sure you get your liquid death in you every single day. every single day. No other.
So is this like?
Yeah.
It's just water.
It is.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw it, I was like, I thought it was beer. And then when you were like, oh, you want water? I was like, yeah, I'll take a water. So I was expecting like a plastic
just a little ball.
And now when you brought this out, I was like, wait, is this beer?
You're like, oh, we meant it, bro. You said water, I meant beer. So here you go.
Nah, this is cool. It's good too. I've never seen this before.
It's something that will murder your thirst for sure.
Liquid Death is gonna hate us.
Anyway,
yeah.
Drink your liquid death. Goddamn it, shut up.
Yeah, it was cool marketing thing. Because for my wife brought it home, and I was like, "Babe, you don't know how to drink anymore, right?" And she was like, "No, it's just water." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I brought it around church too, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "No. Okay, hold on. It's water." Oh, okay. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just a marketing thing."
I'm so glad it's a thing now because like my very first time on the podcast, I'm like, "Yo," because I kept like referencing it, yo.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, no, that's what me and my boy did. We when we did our episode, we had the Simply Spiked lemonade.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we just had that. Like we had the cans up, and then like every few minutes, my boy was like, "Yep, Simply." He'll say the Simply Spiked is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I can't. You can't help yourself sometimes. Like why not? Like it is possible to get sponsored like just by Chicago Bulls.
Trying to get sponsored.
I played basketball from second grade to freshman year of college. So I mean I know a little something.
Just trying to get drafted.
Man, the Bulls used to be my team.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was just a big Derrick Rose fan. Yeah. Like I still am. So like, I was like, Chicago Bulls, like all the way.
Oh,
I'm like 90s, like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was the first player I ever watched.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I was more of a Bulls fan than I was a Celtics fan. Yeah. That's how crazy it was.
Dude, I vaguely remember it, but like, I mean, 97, 98?
Around there, yeah.
I was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember just like being glued to the TV, like.
Dude, Utah Jazz, John Stockton, Karl Malone, like playoffs.
That's Michael Jordan, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, how the fuck did he do that?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
Seeing him hit those shots.
Just amazed, And
then
I started watching like Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker, like that Celtics era. Yeah.
It's definitely like, just crazy to see, like, man, because I was born in '97, so like, I didn't really see Jordan play and stuff like that, but it's still like, man, I know during that time, like, to be able to really watch him play,
that must have been crazy, like at the game. Oh my god.
Oh, in the game must have been crazy, but.
Dude, like
back in my day, being able to watch it,
like
I was like 9 years old.
Even to this day, like the talent's crazy. Like the talent from the '90s to now is insane. Like you see, like 6th graders doing the same thing as the NBA players are doing. But like to watch Michael Jordan in particular, like
I feel like the rivalries were so much different back then.
Yeah.
Like especially, I mean, honestly, like you did have a lot of like repeats in the playoffs. So it was just like, you were like, all right, who's going to just take it this time? Again, you had like Jordan.
Who's going to punch so-and-so in the face? You can't do that anymore now. But
No, you can't. You had like the Bulls, versus the Pistons, which was like such a big thing. Then you had Utah versus the Bulls, like, Indiana Pacers, fighting for the West. Like it was just, the East, excuse me. And it was just like, who is just going to, like Sacramento Kings were always in there. Vlade Divac, Jason Williams. Like, just waiting for these teams to pop off. Like, who is going to take it? And, of course,
AI, dude, too.
Allen Iverson, Philly and stuff. Dude, I'm in, like, nostalgia right now. I just bought Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter Toronto Raptors jersey. I bit the bullet and I did it. And I'm like, I'm in such nostalgia right now.
Those are such great purchases.
Such a nostalgia right now. And it's so great. I love it.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
That's amazing.
Nah, I bet it was. I believe it, man.
Dude, the T-Mac jersey was only $45.
Oh, that's not bad.
You had.
That's not
I
bad.
could not pass that up.
That's not
$45.
bad.
45. The Lids locker room at the Burlington Mall. They were having like a 50% off sale, and it was on the rack, and I was like, absolutely,
Easily.
Oh yeah.
absolutely, hands down. I was like, for sure. Dude, they had a Conway Mighty Ducks jersey, and I almost went and grabbed it.
Damn.
Because I like binge. I said literally like the week before I binge watched because I'm gonna sound like a loser. I just got Disney Plus, so I started getting nostalgia again, and I watched all the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
And then I walked in the store, and it was just like Conway Mighty Ducks, and I was like, quack, 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 quack. I was like, nah, I'm gonna hold back.
But they're like totally geeking out, like.
Oh, dude, I was geeking out for a second. I was like, wait, no way. There's no way that jersey is here after I just binge watched all three of the Mighty Ducks. There's no way. But yeah, it's cool. I love
this
the
person's watching me, Josh. This person's watching me.
Seriously.
Hey, how you doing? I'm freaking the fuck out. But how you doing?
Yeah,
How's your day going, huh?
And I was at a restaurant or something, and they had, it was a Mexican restaurant in Lowell. And they had like an old school. It was the Sacramento Kings versus the Indiana Pacers. And it was like Reggie Miller, Jason Williams, Vlade Divac, and I was like, babe, I'm geeking out right now because this is like what I grew up with, and I'm geeking. Jason Williams was like behind the back and like look pass,
elbow pass.
Yeah,
dude, he was so overlooked though.
So underrated and overlooked.
He should have won MVP, honestly. Like at least 1 year, he should have won MVP.
Just a beast passer, just insane. But yeah, I just love that nostalgia stuff.
Oh man, Peja Stojakovic.
Dude, threes for days.
Yeah.
Again,
Mike Bibby.
Yep. Oh, such good teams. Good old times. Back in my day.
Nah, but like even because I know like for me like growing up, I was like I'm a gamer. I like video games, so like 2K has always been like a thing for me. Mm-hmm. So like seeing like all the throwback teams and stuff like that. Like man, that's just like it's one thing to like play with those teams and be like, oh yeah, like they were so cool. It's another thing to really like experience it. To like at least watch the games and stuff like that. I don't know. Like I think that's like
it's such a different thing like being like at the place, where they're playing. As opposed to seeing it on TV, it's you're taking in everything.
Yeah,
and of course, if you're sitting close enough, I mean, you can't get courtside seats anymore. I'm sorry, but there was this one time tickets were like mad cheap because like the Sun. I have like family in Arizona, and like the Suns at the time, they weren't good, so.
So tickets were real
very cheap. Yes. My aunt got me and my dad like just front row seats. I was like 10 years old.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that was 2003. Like Walter McCarty was on the team. Walter, he was like right there. I got to watch shoot around and everything. Like we got to like walk back and forth.
Oh, that's sick. That's cool.
And shoot around. Like he was towering over me. I'm like, holy fuck! Am I really seeing this right now? I've watched him on TV and everything, and now he's, just chilling in front of me shooting threes. Yeah. That is sick.
I think that's something for me, man. I want to sit courtside at least once, just for that experience, man. Because it's like, it's one thing, like being in the arena, but like you on the floor with the, like you have like the home team on this side. I don't know. It's just like, it's crazy. So I know, I told my boys, I don't know if it's actually gonna happen, but I was like, when Derrick Rose, like if Derrick Rose announces that like he's gonna retire, like for me, I want to see him in person. So I'm gonna try to see, how
get the
what's the closest I can possibly get. Obviously, I might have to pay a lot, but I'm like, for me, I don't know. I think like Derrick Rose he probably won't play as much during the time, but I'm like, I don't know. I think that's just my guy, man. So like, I would want to kind of just be like, damn, like I got to see him play. I haven't been able to see him play like in person. I'll say yet, but yeah, like I don't know. I'd want to see Derrick Rose play a basketball game.
Yeah.
So would you do it at a say a Celtics game, or would you go to Chicago?
It probably depends on where he's at.
It depends on when you catch the game.
Yeah, but I think.
Or depends where he's at too.
Yeah, I feel like if he's, I don't know, it wouldn't be the same at a Celtics game.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
I think if he were in Chicago for the last game of the season, I don't know, he's retiring and their last game was against Chicago or whoever he's playing. I don't know, I'd probably have to
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go just for the experience. But
get the full nostalgia.
Exactly.
In Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Just
all
there.
that. So I don't know. We gonna see, but that's something I would want to do.
Bro, I need to come up with some serious bread to get to a Super Bowl game.
Dude,
it will happen
facts.
one day.
That is definitely on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Definitely hit the Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's. I'm not that big of a football guy, but I know just being. Bro, that's football. That's a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I've done Times Square. I knocked that one off.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I've never been to a professional football game.
Yeah.
So,
What?
Yeah, no. I've been to a basketball game. Me and my dad used to go to Celtics games every year when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I've been to basketball games, baseball games, but never.
Never football.
Never football. I don't think I've gone to a hockey game either.
Yeah. I haven't. I've never been to a baseball game. I think. Yeah, a lot of people were
But if you don't like it, then what's the point?
That's also true, but people are go for the experience or the atmosphere.
Right.
And I think I would want to go. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I could really watch baseball like that.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's not as fast for me. It's not as fast paced as basketball because basketball is kind of back and forth. So it's
there's one
all right,
edge.
it's there's always something.
Shit themselves.
But,
anyway.
it's there's always something going on. Huh?
Yeah, basketball. Yeah, there's definitely something always just going on. You can always catch something.
But I think in playing 2K growing up and stuff, and even playing basketball for a very short while, I think it helped.
Definitely.
And maybe it'll be a lot better than you expect. You know what I mean? Because I took a couple of my friends to a basketball game, in December.
Yeah.
They don't typically watch basketball, but they were into the game. They love being there. They actually said, hey, this is actually fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's so much going on.
Exactly.
Again, being there, it's holy crap. It's actually really dope.
Yeah, for sure. Well, AK, I really want to appreciate you so much for coming on, taking your time to come on out here to check on the podcast. Before we wrap up, where can people is there anything that you can let people know that you have coming up? And, what are some ways that people can connect with you, whether it's social media, website, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, first I'll start by saying thank you guys for having me.
Of course, absolutely.
This was good, and I think even in telling my boy that I was coming here, I was I think it's going to be a good conversation. I'm looking forward to it.
Word.
And it was. So, but Don Talk podcast is coming out very soon. I haven't solidified a date yet. I kind of have, but I'm also I may tweak it.
Yeah.
But
you also see the drip too, right?
Yeah. You see, I don't know.
Don't sleep on that.
Yeah, man. Got the
it
little
says
logo
Don
on my shirt. But man. I think probably for sure next month. I feel I always start in February, anyways. That's when I got the logo and started the podcast the first time. So I think that's yeah. But Don Talk podcast coming back very soon. It's on all streaming platforms. Working on getting everything else up on YouTube, and that's it for the podcast. But to follow me or support me, I have my page. Well, there's the main page for the podcast and the gaming videos that I do. It's at DONTALKENT, so Don Talk Entertainment, but just ENT. Mm-hmm. And my personal page is AKLeDon_. Yeah, that's all I got. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Just really Instagram, because I feel like that's kind of where I'm building everything. But
Yeah, same. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Just want to say God bless one more time. And just appreciate everybody. I want to say thank you to my co-host L.Y.F.E here, being here and just adding on to the conversation as always. But until next time, my name is J Faith.
My name is L.Y.F.E.
And this is AK, and this is the Right Mind Wednesdays podcast, and we'll catch y'all next time. What's up?
I gotta get that down.
Yeah, you gotta get the timing right.